eThekwini Mayor Cyril Xaba says heavy rains and floods that have lashed the Durban metro over 4 weeks from mid-February to the 15th of March have claimed the lives of 16 people. The floods have caused infrastructure damage of more than 1.5 billion rand. Xaba gave an update on the city's interventions on damaged infrastructure as well as the current water challenges the city is facing. He says teams are still assessing the extent of the damage in the metro. The inclement weather has caused extensive damage to private property in various parts of the metro, affecting more than 1,400 homes and close to 6,000 people. The eThekwini Municipality has welcomed the declaration of a national disaster in KwaZulu-Natal. To unpack this a bit more further now, we are joined by the eThekwini Municipality Mayor Cyril Xaba, and he joins us now via our video link. Mayor, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Now, KZN has really seen some devastating floods which have taken place not only just over the past few weeks, but now over the past couple of years as well. And you telling us today that the extent of the damage is costing 1.5 billion rand. Just paint for us and give us a picture of the extent of the damage that your municipality is dealing with.
Well, thank you very much, Mbali, and good evening to your listeners. And, the city has been hit hard by successive floods since in 2017. And in 2019, we requested national government to give us 3.1 billion rand, which we considered as the cost to repair the damaged infrastructure at the time. From that, we only got 1.7 billion rand, which meant that the city had to fund the shortfall from its own sources. And now the damage totals 1.5 billion rand, but only for the 3 floods. And in February we had 2, in March we also had 2. The 3 floods that we have so far been able to collect information on, and amounts to 1.5. And our team are on the ground still working on the figures. And insofar as the recent flood is concerned, it means that the damage will outstrip 2 billion rand, and that's what the city has to face going forward. And if you consider the successive floods we've had in the past, and it doesn't give us enough time to even recover from the previous floods, because we now have to battle with floods now and again. As we speak, we still have many people who are housed in transit camps, and because I must tell you, the city is now no longer coping with the situation. But with the assistance that the government is going to release, we think it will go some way in addressing some of the challenges the city is facing arising from these floods.
And talking about some of the interventions being made now by government is the fact that your province has been placed under a natural state of disaster. And one would ask, in terms of assistance, how will this assist the eThekwini municipality to rebuild itself? Because rebuilding really here is not cheap. Like now you're collating, just the past couple of floods, and how much it's going to cost you as a municipality?
Well, like as I say now, that so far the last 3, it's the cost is 1.5 billion rand, and the 4th one, the very latest, it's obviously going to take the cost way beyond 2 billion rand. And we hope that when the time comes, the central government will also consider that as well, and so that we are then able to recover. If you look at our damaged infrastructure, it's so much. And even now, some can't, the damage, the full extent of the damage only becomes noticeable, after some time.
Yeah.
And because it affects the infrastructure underground, that takes time for anyone to see it. You only see it when people start to complain that they're not receiving water. And when you search, what could be the reason, you find that it is a leak happening somewhere. So that's the cost to human lives that these floods are causing in the city.
And Mayor, when it comes to water provision in your municipality, usually when you have, devastating floods of this nature, water seems to always be affected. Not only does it only affect drinkable water, it also affects your beaches. How will you be providing and ensure that the residents of eThekwini have clean drinkable water as you rebuild the city?
Well, I must assure you that in the city we have the best potable water ever, and there is no challenge in respect to that. Indeed, due to aging infrastructure, we get a number of bursts happening and causing water disruption in some cases, but we are attending to that. But what compounds the problem is illegal connections to our system, and we really urge people not to do so, because as they do that, they basically undermine our infrastructure, because most of the bursts or leakages happen in areas where people have illegally connected to our system. We also urge people to pay for our services as well, because that gives us sufficient resources to then can be able to invest in our infrastructure, maintain, repair, and also, add new infrastructure. So when people don't pay for services, they rob the city of the revenue it needs to repair and roll out infrastructure, so that people in the city, all of them, are able to receive water, as it were.
And another aspect that you're dealing with as a city is the fact that floods cause people to be displaced. It also destroys people's homes. And when it comes to those who are now homeless, how will the city be assisting them, particularly to those who have also asked to be relocated?
Well, as we speak right now, most of the people are sheltered in flats and in some places of safety around the city. And we must also thank the families who opened up their doors to welcome the displaced family members. And so as we speak now, we're in discussion with both National Department of Human Settlement as well as the provincial department, and on the resettlement of these people. We have identified land. I think the land we have identified, or the city that has made available, will be adequate to relocate people. But there again, we need the resources to develop that land and then build, so that we can then start the resettlement program.
Lastly, before I let you go, how long will it take to turn around the city and to ensure that the infrastructure is fixed once again to allow the city to optimally, of course, function?
Well, we don't have the luxury of time, Mbali. We've got to turn around the city, and as soon as the resources become available, and we will surely put the resources in good use. As we speak now, there is about 9.3 billion rand that is going to be available over 3 years, coming from different sources, and that amount of money will actually help us to deal at least with water, as it were. But the money that the central government will release, and from the 3.1 billion rand set aside to deal with the floods, since we've been declared a state of disaster, will help us deal with infrastructure as well as housing, so that we can then settle our people. We need this money so that we can be able to deal with our storm water drainage system, which got damaged. And if you look at our stormwater drainage system, it was built to cope with 1 in 10-year flood, but now we're dealing with 1 in 200-year that often with intensity and rainfall. The rainfall comes with intensity, and it happens at a regular, on a regular basis. And so, indeed, but we think with time we'll be able to deal with the situation. We hope that we're not going to have more rains going forward. These were the landslides, because if that happens, it will experience more mudslides in the city.
Mayor, thank you so much for your time and that very important update there for the people of eThekwini. That is Mayor of eThekwini, Cyril Xaba, giving us an update in terms of the extent of the damage in that municipality, and of course being caused there by heavy rainfall and floods that have hit parts of KwaZulu-Natal.